my screen matches.
All right, hi guys. Thank you for coming again and for our planning, our collaborative planning. Just to review, we've gone over our high quality instruction, which is part of our campus goals. And if you would please be my clicker and click to the next one, just to kind of review all the stuff that we're working on. This year for our campus goals is the clarity and purpose for our instruction and delivery and our student engagement. We're working on the meaningful work, the high-level questioning, and that student discussion and collaboration. So part of that high-quality instruction tool given to us by our district, and the parts that we're really focusing on this particular year are that communicate the learning outcomes for the lesson, and then for higher-level questioning, it's justify the thinking when responding to higher-order questions. The student discussion part is the volunteer to answer questions and share ideas. This is from the students, so this is what we're looking for. And then that use of academic vocabulary when engaging in meaningful discussions, and listening actively and responding meaningfully to their peers. So those are things we're looking for as we're instructing daily. And then this is our campus goal. Students will be able to articulate the daily lesson objective to their peers. Teachers will provide higher level questioning, and students will justify their thinking when responding using academic language. And so we're going to break that up. And so this is part of what we're doing. We're articulating the daily lesson objectives. Teachers will provide higher level questioning, and that's what we're really going to focus on today. And then students will be able to justify their thinking when responding using academic language. So just to kind of keep that in your mind as we're collaborating and planning these lessons. So what that needs to look like is students can communicate what they're learning about and not just the activity. Like when we're walking in and observing, students can demonstrate and explain the content, and students can connect new learning to prior learning. And then their teacher actions, these are things that we need to be making sure that we're doing, is restating the purpose throughout the lesson, reviews the outcomes and frames the lessons before beginning the lesson, provides opportunities to discuss and demonstrate their learning, and provides a closure opportunity for students to review their learning. And we have an anchor chart. Make sure we're having anchor charts, so we'll make sure we put those in the plans so that we can have anchor charts to refer to as we're giving the lessons. And so higher level questions, what we're really going to focus on today. And somewhere I brought in a bunch of papers. They're right over here with our questioning, our cue charts that we're going to be working with today. So as we're planning the lesson, we can make sure that we're asking these questions, the higher level questioning. So this one's the laminated one that we all have from the beginning. And then I've got a couple of different ones. This is the cue chart that kind of tells you the factual, the prediction, the analyzing, the making connections. And then I've got this one, depending on what we want to really look at. And then this is more for upper levels, but it still gives you some questioning stems that we can use to make sure that we're putting those in our lessons so that we are not forgetting them as we go. So, and then here's our Bloom's taxonomy. Just to remember, we'll keep that up as we're making our questions to go through the planning properly, to make sure that we're kind of hitting those as we go, because it's easy to forget how that looks. So yeah, and so there we go. That's it. And I'll give you one of those. So we'll go on to the lesson, and I've already put in here what we did last year, so we can look at how we did last year compared to what we need to do this year and what our focus needs to be. I know we talked about the books that we'd be using, and our unit studies changed because the scope has changed this year. So we'll go ahead and put that up, and so we can look at what we're going to do. And I'll give you some of these, so you have it for your record, for evidence that goes with your goals.
Thank you.
And that way you have that to work with. And I'll leave one for Cindy. And so I went ahead and for the shared reading, I just put in the books that we've used in the past, because really we're doing fairy tales, but last year we really focused on folk tales. So,
No, I like that.
do we want to stay with those? Do we have all those big books?
We have the Little Red Hen.
Yep, but we're
Free
gonna be doing the Little Red Hen in our interactive.
I'm sorry. Oh, we're doing shared right now. I was thinking.
But we can do
No, no, no.
interactive.
No, that's fine with me.
Remember Three Billy Goats Gruff, I feel like.
Yeah, that one says 3 Billy Goats Fluff, but that's
Oh,
good
Fluff.
because
Oh, yeah, that's
it
the
says
play.
different
Mhm.
versions.
I like that.
And
And
the
they really
pumpkin.
liked
The
yesterday the
three
little bear
bear
and the three
camping,
campers.
uh-huh.
They like that one, yeah.
Mhm. That was good because they made the connection to Goldilocks, and so that was good. So in the plan, well, I was thinking interactive.
Oh, I bet they would love the gingerbread girl too.
I think they would.
I don't
And we
know.
have the gingerbread man too,
I
don't
don't
we?
remember Rapunzel being one
We
of our
also
big
have the
ones.
3 Little Pigs for shared reading. If you want that
Well,
one.
we're gonna do the Three Little
Oh.
Pigs for interactive.
Okay.
And I put in a fun one for the Friday, but I mean, it could even be our shared reading. It's the Three Little Ninja Pigs.
Huh.
I never had heard of it. And I-
No, it's like that is
But
probably.
I thought
We
it
don't
could be a
have that,
fun Friday
yeah.
kind of, I
Yeah.
put it in the,
So you
my
can project
VR.
it. Mhm.
So it could be like just a Friday fun. I've got 3 Little Red Hens, so I don't know how far we wanna go, but I know in our tech set, don't we have the 2 Little Red Hens?
I think so.
And then we can
Mhm.
compare and contrast. I don't
Mhm.
know, like
How
what,
different they are.
how different they are. I don't remember from last year. Or what you wanna,
I found 3 Billy Goats Gruff. That one. Do you want that one?
yeah, we can do that.
The fluff or the gruff?
This one's the Gruff.
The gruff.
Oh, this one says.
But I mean, we could still even use that fairy tale checklist next week.
And I have that in the plans for interactive. If you wanna, we
Yeah,
can
so
start
I
with
switched
interactive, I guess.
Is that yellow? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And so, but really, this is from last year. So we can collaborate and work on what, and I didn't change this either because I believe Unit 2, the theme, I took that out because it was teaching others. But then this time we're doing that connecting story features like the rhyme, the fairy tale, and the folk tales.
Because we started this week with interactive. We've been doing Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yes, and then we did the other Jane Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm starting that one tomorrow.
Yes.
And we've been talking about fairy tales. What makes it a fairy tale?
I know. I
Yeah,
think
that's
next
nice.
week I want to give my kids their own checklist. I told them we were going to start doing that, and they're going to have their own checklist.
I like that.
And then they can I'll stop throughout and they can turn and talk and decide
If
together.
this is part of.
Because right now it's mostly me bringing it out of them and having my own checklist. And next week I'll give them their own checklist.
Yeah, because we haven't really done the check. We've talked about it, like character actions and characters and their actions, but not so much the magic and the trait of 3 and that sort of thing. So that'll be good.
Right, so we'll add that to our plans.
I haven't seen 7 used. I know 7. It says 7 is sometimes used in fairy tales, but I can't think of it as
The
oh,
7
Seven
dwarfs.
Seven.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one I
The
can ever
same
think
thing.
of.
Yeah.
But we talked about 3. I mean, granted, it's the 3 bears, that's why. But we were like, how many times is 3 in this book? And they're like, the 3 bowls, the 3 beds, the 3 chairs, the 3
Yeah.
bears. It was really good, actually, because it made them go back and remember each event.
Yeah.
Oh, so then you've got some sequencing.
That's a
Yes.
good.
So it was good. And then I did make them today. We haven't done the web about Goldilocks, but today I put that sentence stem up there. I think Goldilocks was blank because, and we ran out of time because of the fire drill. I wanted to write their words down that they said so they could go back to the web and use that, but they came up with good ones. Well, a few people said good. I think she was good because she's just a kid. She didn't know better. I
Oh.
was like, okay.
But that's. I mean,
Oh, they want to get away with what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then a lot of them kept saying bad, and so then we said, okay, what other word could we use instead of bad? So then that brought up foolish and naughty, and I don't know, it came out really good. So we'll have to go back and add the traits up there because we didn't get to do that. But anyways,
Those are
but I
good.
want to do that. I think. Whoops. Hold on. Sorry. I did save something in here and I shared it with you guys. Right here. It's this. Is it okay if I click on this?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see which one it is. Was it this one? I think it's this. Okay, so here's a retell. I said last week I wasn't gonna do this for this week, but I think next week I would do it. And they have to sequence the pictures and write about it.
I like that.
And then I also found this little web
For Little Red
character
Hen.
traits for
That's
Little Red
perfect.
Hen. So,
Cause
I
it,
mean,
that's our focus really, is that character trait
Yes.
and reviewing the steps and what the
And then,
elements.
and like through your high quality questioning, how do they know those are their traits? Like what did they do
yeah.
with
to
their
make it that
actions
way.
to make you think that? Like why do we think Goldilocks is bad? Why do we think Little Red Hen is
And
smart?
then there are some other ones I added. I wasn't sure because I saw for shared 3 Little Pigs. There's
Yep.
that one,
And we've got 3 little pigs on there.
and there's also Jack and the Beanstalk,
Jack and the Beanstalk's good.
and then there's 3 Billy Goats Gruff. And I think honestly they would love this ogre.
They will.
Yeah, I think they would.
So that's in there. I know that's a lot. We probably have to
But we
all
could
that,
do
but
one
you
of
can
those,
choose.
cause it's really the second week that we've been doing it, so it could be a bit more independent.
Well,
or
actually,
guided.
there's 3, so you could even do I do on one of them, we do on the next one, and then on the last
Then
book,
they do.
you do.
But yeah, then you do. Let's do that then.
Okay.
Because otherwise, right now, what we did from last year is we've got the 2 days of the Little Red Hen. And then a fun Little Red Hen with Little Red Hen makes a pizza.
Okay, so now we need to think of some
Did
questions.
they do that last year?
I'm sorry.
The red hen in kindergarten? Like she said something about pizza, like I remember it like,
It's one of their, just a fun book that they read the pizza
Oh,
one,
okay.
so they probably heard
Okay.
before.
so they at least will, but at least they will be,
Mhm.
So if we're coming up with the high quality questions to make
Okay.
sure that we're hitting that strategy to make sure that we're getting the students engaged. I don't know if I gave you this. This
Thank
is
you.
that questioning quadrant, and it's a bit different. Remind me how it goes. So when we're looking at this Q chart strategy, and we're looking at this,
D and B are in the right spot, I believe, but I think we said,
that
or wait, no,
ask questions to summarize and analyze, so,
D is correct.
and C is at the bottom. Right? No,
C
'cause
is
it's
at
the
the
what?
bottom, analyze.
Analyze.
So
Predict
C
is at the top, so that's in the right spot, D's in the right spot. And to apply or relate, so that B's
I think just A and C need
are
to switch
flip
places.
flops, yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, so when we come up with our questions for these books, I guess that's what we need to really look at. Those questioning strategies.
Now,
Okay.
oh, no, sorry,
Go ahead.
the way we did this last year, I do remember, is we started with, told long ago, have a good character, bad character, teach us a lesson, use the number of 3. And then we added on to it on Tuesday
With Once Upon a
with
Time.
Once Upon a Time. And
Right.
then we added to it on Thursday with animals were the characters.
Yes, the talking
And then-
animals.
And then Friday, so they won't know everything on Monday. But they'll know what we talked about this week.
Right.
So that question, because where do you have in there, why is this book a fairy tale? Can you prove it to me? So they'll have some knowledge that they can answer that question.
Yeah, that's kind of, I guess, a burning question by the end of the week. Or
Right.
by the end of the story, sorry.
By the end of the story, because all of the books we'll have read will have animals, talking animals.
It would be interesting if you asked them that question on Monday and then do like a little
Mhm.
half sheet of paper or something, and then compared to the book on the end, like if they would have more, like if they really retained the new pieces.
The new content,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, so we'll add that. And what that needs to look like.
And I like the do you know other fairy tales, because that's a good connection for them. They were already doing that for sure in shared reading. Like when they did the 3 campers, they were already connecting
Those
mostly
characters.
mostly the plot of the story, like what was happening. You could definitely find other ways, like the 3, the good, the bad,
right.
give them more language to connect them.
For the 3 campers. So Tuesday,
Oops, I don't know why this is jumping all over the place. Smaller.
I'm sorry, Tuesday we said, what would we do? What was in the Three Billy Goats Grub?
Oh, are we talking about interactive or share?
Interactive. Or are we gonna do this for
Still
interactive?
the little red hen, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
Half the book.
Half the book and then do. Yes. I think the half the book works really well. They do remember it.
It's kind of funny though when they're really into it though, like, and you see, yeah, like, I mean, they've heard, like,
They
what
don't
we
want
did
it to stop.
yesterday with Goldilocks, they've heard it, and still, we went to stop, I'm like, okay, we're gonna stop. No, I'm like, you quit a day, it's okay. We're gonna do some more with it. But it's funny that they get into it.
I put a few questions in, but we can change them. I just said, how would you describe the little red hen? What makes you say that? How would you describe the other animals? Would you have shared the bread with the others? Why or why not?
Oh, I like
Change
that.
it though if you'd like. I guess I focused more on Tuesday on character.
Which is good. Rather than on what a folktale really is.
When you can relate that back to, we know that folktales have a good character and a bad character, or, you know, good versus evil.
Yeah.
And what do we think about the Little Red Hen? What are her character traits kind of tied in that piece?
And over here's that anchor chart that we can make as we go through the lesson. And it's got the difference in those two. I believe they're in our text set because there's a Little Red Hen by Heather Frost, and then there's the one by Lucinda McQueen.
Just one of
Do you
book,
see
or
them
they
over-
both?
Over in the corner there
Let me
Mhm.
scoot it
is
over.
the so we can really go through and make an
Okay.
anchor chart on what the two
The difference.
the difference is. And that could change if you want to do the Little Red Hen makes a pizza.
Yes, whatever book you want to compare it with,
When
you
it-
put in
Yes.
the chart.
I don't know the pizza one.
Cindy told me about the pizza one.
And I think kindergarten all has a copy, so if you don't want to watch it on the
Oh my
on a
god.
VR site, then you can borrow some from kindergarten.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
see,
good.
yeah. We do have both copies, the whole table and the other one.
Right? And last year I believe we looked
I
at
liked
both
it.
of those.
I mean, the screen's good too, but I do like to
But sometimes
read
you
it.
can lose their attention really
Absolutely.
fast.
Okay, so.
And there are differences in what they bake and what they eat in the old fable and there's always a lesson, so I think that's important to explain to them too, is the lesson in the fable.
So for a planned question for the next one, the Little Red Hen makes a pizza. Do we wanna start off kind of similar with the first book, like asking about the fairy tale
Yes.
elements?
Because we still need to make sure that they understand those fairy tale elements, don't you? Agree?
Yes. So kind of go with the same ones from Monday.
Yes.
Sorry. Screen is so,
I know, I keep messing it up.
every time I click it, it does that.
Yes, it's like when it's not, I had to put it in 50% or like
Oh,
with
is
the
that what
smaller.
it is? Okay.
Mhm.
It doesn't like for you to type it in whenever it's, but then it's so
It's so hard to
tiny.
read like that, yeah.
Yeah, now it's
I
not
was
doing
blown
it.
up.
Thank you
Okay,
for telling me
yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I put that in. Why is this book a fairy tale?
Okay, it's highlighted. Let me unhighlight that. Oops, sorry. Still highlighted.
And then do we want to focus on fairy tale or folk tales? Because I know,
Do the net, the transparent part.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's still like that. I don't know why it's like that. Oh, someone has it highlighted, I think.
Oh, someone else is reading, yeah.
Okay,
there you
that's okay. Okay, so planned questions. Maybe on Thursday, it's more questions that are comparing it to the other version of Fred.
and comparing and contrasting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because that's also a, making those connections and analyzing what's the difference and why, how are they different?
On Thursday or
On
on,
Thursday.
because that's the Three Little Pigs.
Oh, sorry, on Wednesday.
Oh, I
guess.
see. I was thinking 2 days for, the pizza one.
Oh, well, we did the Three
Oh.
Little Pigs because it has such a good moral of the hard work to kind of end on that.
No, I agree, and you know what, if we're watching the story on, unless you borrow a copy, sometimes that does go faster, so you probably could cover more on Wednesday.
That's what I was thinking. And I don't
And
know
we've
that
already
it's
done
that
this
long.
now a few times, so the fairy tale element should go faster.
Yes, and they should understand because the characters are similar,
Yes.
so I feel like it could go a bit faster and we could read that whole book. Whereas the Three Little Pigs, they know it's a familiar story. It's a familiar, I don't know if they actually really know the moral of the story. You hope they do.
Right.
But we don't have the Three Little Pigs, in our text set. We have the Three Snow Bears.
And we did the Three Snow Bears this week.
Yes. So, but kindergarten has, if you need a hard copy, and I'm sure the library has it too.
Yes.
The Three Little Pigs.
And we just had talked before about doing that just because of the moral of the story and teaching that they always have the lesson. And so the lesson is the hardworking pig that builds his house of bricks kind of does better. And so that's why I put in there the idea, what do we think about the first pig? The first pig is blank because he builds his house of hay. So what do we think about him and his character traits, right? It could be that he could be lazy. It could get really interesting, I think, with how they're going to identify him. And he does like to have fun, remember, depending on the version you use, he likes to have fun, he doesn't want to work, and he likes to play all day. So then,
I don't know, I wanted to add a question in there for the Little Red Hen one, just like, basically like how could you, if you were gonna write this story, what would you make it about? Like one author chose bread, one chose pizza, just cause I think that's fun.
Yeah.
It'd be cute, it'd be cute to do a response with that somehow.
it would be a good response.
But we have a
Isn't
lot
there
of
one-
stuff
is
in here.
Is that, there's a soup one, I feel like too.
Where she makes a soup.
I think so.
I think you're right. There's so many versions.
I think it would be kind of cute though if we took a mentor sentence from the book, because I did that with Brown Bear today, did one, and they came up with their own thing. Like I'd have to look at the book to see, but and then they illustrated. They wrote one sentence about whatever the Little Red Hen made, and then they illustrated. I think that'd be kind of cute, and I think they'd like it. That's a little creative, like thinking of it in a different way.
Yeah.
But I'd have to look at the book to see. I'll look for my book in a little bit and see. I highly suggest reading that Brown Bear book to your class, guys.
Do they like it?
Yeah, well, we watched it. There's a hip hop version on my VR spot, and we watched it, but I paused it on every page, and I would call on kids to read. I see a yellow dog looking at me, or I see a white dog looking at me. I would pause it, and they could figure it out. They're not seeing the next picture. If you have the book, you can kind of guess what the next animal is, I think. But we just watched it, so you don't know who the next one is. But since we've learned a lot of colors, like color words lately, a lot of them were able to be like, look at the beginning sound, and they could read it, but then they had to write their own, I see a blank blank looking at me. That's all they had to do, but we talked about I, capitalizing I, putting a period at the end.
Nice.
And then,
yeah.
and we also do, and then when they came and showed me, I'd be like, oh, let me show, I just picked one letter. Let me show you how to make a G correct way on the lines. You know what I mean? Like I just helped them with like one thing each. One girl, there was really nothing to fix on hers. It was perfect.
That's nice.
But mostly everybody had several
Yeah,
things
just
to
one
fix.
thing
We
to
just
fix.
picked one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
We just
edit.
picked one. And it was really, and then some kids you could see like they're not so good at copying, because they forgot at me or they forgot a word. It was just good to see. I don't know. So I kind of want to try doing more of that each week.
Those are good, because
And
then
it
they
didn't
go
take
over
too
those
long.
things, the capitalization and the
Right.
punctuation,
Yeah,
making your proper sentence, spacing.
yeah. It's
Just
hard to
focus
squeeze
on
that time in, but it was. I feel like it was worth it. So I'm
Those
gonna try to
little
do that with the Little
stamina,
Red Hen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick a sentence somehow.
Well, let's put
I like
that in
that.
our
Squeeze that
plan
into
so
the
that we
schedule.
can put that in
Yeah.
and that we can follow it,
Uh-huh.
because that would be helpful. Even if it doesn't go with our questioning, it still is going over the teaks that we're covering.
Yeah.
Not just in reading, but in writing.
Yeah. And they like that kind of stuff though.
Yeah,
I'll add that underneath at the end. I'll say you could use this last question as a response, as a journal response, using a mentor sentence.
because I also feel like using the patterns of wonder, those focused sentences and saying them and saying them and saying them, they're really sticking with them. They're not always still doing it in their writing, but they know it. So it will come, and it's still week 5.
Right. And those focus statements help with the purpose and the clarity piece of our goal.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I haven't given my writing journals yet. They're just using paper for writer's workshop, but I feel like through the reading response journal, I can teach them how to use the lines correctly, so then when I give them the writing journal, it won't
It'll be
be
like it's like a Christmas present.
I think I'm gonna give that to them as a
Yes.
Christmas present.
That would be
That
so
sounds
fun.
ah, that would be good.
I'm going to do that. That's a great idea.
I already gave
think
mine
they did
to
that
you.
last year, too. I know.
I
I think
gave
they
mine
like that
last
stuff.
They would love that.
Does anybody know, is today the 20th day?
Today is the 20th day.
Okay, because I told my kids I'd do something special for them on the 20th day. I have to think.
And now you're like, what can you do? She's off in the afternoon.
Today
Oh, that's
is,
fun. And we already had the fire drill, so that's a good idea. But the only thing is they need help getting the shoes back on.
Oh.
I'll think of something fun. Okay, so what are you thinking, Jessica?
I'm
Do
thinking
you want us to look at shared?
we could look at shared. Do we need to go over some questioning for the 3 little pigs? That's my question, just to finish that up, because
Yeah.
those are the only questions we don't have. We basically know what we're gonna do, but what
Mhm.
questions are we gonna ask that we haven't asked to really solidify, because this is the last week of this, correct?
Yes. What for right now?
For right now, and then we come
for our
back
new
to it.
scope, I'm sure, and I don't know when we'll come back to it. I need to, they don't have the 3rd and 4th. I don't think I saw it on the second 9 weeks. So we should come back and hit it again, but I just don't know when it will be.
Right, so this is the end of this, so we really wanna solidify
Okay.
that knowledge.
What did you notice about each pig's house?
Yeah, and how they, like, and how it related to their character trait, or is that too much?
I
Or
don't-
how it connected?
Is there? I don't know. If is there enough evidence where they could pull that out?
Yeah.
But
I
can
don't
they
know.
use that inferencing to pull that out?
I'd have to see. I need to see the book
I know.
to see because, like, I feel like did they not just choose
What to use?
what to use,
And they're building, yeah,
or
that's
did
it.
one want to do it like fast? You know
What
what I
they
mean? Like,
wanted to do it because they wanted to play.
Okay.
The one I'm thinking of is the first little pig wants to play all day, so he
Oh,
makes his
out of
house
hay.
out of hay.
Okay. I
Then the
forgot that.
other one, that's the
and if
version
it's lighter,
I'm
it's
imagining.
faster.
Yes, because it's lighter, it's faster, and he can be done and go back and play. And then the other one, in the version I'm imagining anyway, that's how that looks. And then he goes back, the second one wants to play as well, but he's like, oh, well, I found these sticks and they're gonna take a little bit longer, but he's not as playful. That's the version I remember.
I kind of put a few things in here, but you know, use what you want and or take out. I don't mind, but it says, what did you notice about each pig's house? What materials would you use to build your house? What changes to the first pig's house or the second pig's house would you make?
I like
Just,
that.
just like things to spark conversation between them, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do /second.
Oh, it's in the shared reading.
Second pig's. Oh, I'm sorry. Should I do that?
No. I'm just trying. I want to see which version we have.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's in the shared reading.
it's in the shared reading.
Now
You
I
can
feel
still
like
pull it out.
I
and
have
do
a
it.
version myself, and then I have like the Big Bad Wolf, I don't know, from his perspective, you know, that
yeah,
one.
that one's funny.
And that one's funny. So you could always do something like that too on that last day. But, and that's why I had never heard of the ninja one, and I thought it would be something funny. And they all actually have a job in this one, in the 3 ninjas.
I was thinking, so those first questions are all about the houses, but I was thinking like, maybe we could ask a question like, what advice would you give the wolf? Like something like that. Like that be, you know, about that would lead to talking about
Well, the bad
personality
character,
traits.
because
Yeah,
so we need to
yeah.
talk about that too. I actually put that at the top,
Okay.
where it says, turn and talk with your partner using, we think the wolf was blank. So then talking about the wolf's character traits as well.
Okay.
So that's up there in the we do. And we think the wolf was he mean? Like, he's just knocking on their door, like, and let them spark that conversation.
This is just so y'all know, but if you do use the shared reading book for interactive, it's written as a play.
Oh yeah.
But one of the planned questions, I think this is so funny. Will the pigs outsmart the wolf, or will they become pork chops?
Oh my gosh.
And then ask them. They say that question is about pigs becoming pork chops is funny. What does it mean? Like, you have to explain
Ah.
the inside joke of it, kind of.
I'm putting that in.
Yes,
Yeah.
do.
Also, it makes it funny, not so scary.
Yes.
Okay. I do love doing this kind of stuff with them, especially the three little pigs.
Well, they know the story, and
Yeah.
but they don't always think about. They're easy for them to identify the characteristics too.
I bet it would be fun to try to find a STEM activity for Friday. Some kind of,
Building.
yeah.
We have popsicle sticks and things. They could build a house.
I'm gonna start looking for something like that. Just
Like straws, like those little coffee straws,
Mm-hmm.
popsicle sticks.
Toothpicks.
Legos for the bricks.
Yeah.
I don't have enough Legos.
I don't either.
No, they would all choose that.
Yeah.
Yes, they would.
definitely- Unless you had them rotate.
You could bring a bunch of Jenga blocks.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think everybody
Actually,
donate
I
Jenga.
could do that. Those are all good ideas. Or
Okay.
maybe I'll just do like a retelling thing where they can, in groups, retell using those materials to build. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Cindy has a little set of the three little pigs where they.
That's probably why
stuff.
she wanted to do it.
I was gonna buy it. It's really expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tried to buy it last year. I never would have thought. I thought it would be like $20. It was like 75 or 100.
Oh,
This
gosh.
one teacher uses her math pattern blocks.
Oh, for them to build.
I bet we can find, you
That could
know.
work though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be our own version.
Yeah.
And this is what the pigs have.
Yeah.
Um,
I like it. So do we need to go into shared reading now? Do we have time? We have about 5 more
Oh my
minutes.
gosh, you know what you could do, guys? I just thought of a great idea. You could have materials out and you can say you're gonna design a house and you wanna make it a strong house to see if, you know, if it will withstand the wolf blowing it down. Then we can test it with our fans.
That would
That's
be
a
cute.
And then the kids could vote, do you think this house will, you know?
Fall or
Oh.
stand.
I think I'm gonna do that.
I
That's
think
just
they would
too
love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
They would, and it's a nice
Okay,
Friday
but
little
then
activity.
have them build it in front of this. This teacher has a picture of a wolf, and she puts the hair dryer through his mouth.
Oh,
that's so
funny,
That's
too.
cute.
so funny. Okay, I'm gonna do
Or the
something
fan.
like that.
Put your fan through
Friday.
it.
But you could bring in a blow dryer too.
That's really funny. Oh.
That's so cute.
I'm gonna do student like groups because I don't know.
No, yeah, I think that's gonna be easier if they work together. And they'll be better if they work together.
This one did toothpicks with those dot candies to
Oh,
connect
yeah.
toothpicks
Oh,
together.
yeah. And you can do marshmallows.
And then
Yeah,
like,
we can
then
add
you
that.
wash their hands so they're, oh, I was gonna say, yeah, don't eat them before.
Yeah, you can eat them after.
There's a lot of cute ideas. And then they can write about it in writing.
Yes.
And then shared reading, you're really just gonna pull whichever books you think would hit the folktale characteristics, and you could talk about plot elements, you could talk about
Yes.
sentence structure, you could talk about so many things.
How they're similar or different
Mhm.
in the elements, in the story elements, for sure.
Your class yesterday really loved and noticed right away, we must have already done a book this year, but how the characters are in color
Uh-huh.
and then their words match
Mhm.
them. They're like, that's what the little girl, she was like, that's what the little girl says. It's gonna be red because her circle is red.
Oh,
Right.
really? She
Mhm.
noticed that. I pointed that out, but
Okay, so the books that we're gonna use, well, I guess you're just gonna pick from any of those, or?
I definitely think Jack and the Beanstalk, and I
Okay.
think Three Billy Goats Gruff.
Yeah.
We could do those 2 days, and then we could actually do the character traits that go with it, even for a station if we don't get to it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does everybody have Jack and the Beanstalk?
I have a version, which I'm happy to share.
I don't have it.
We
so
have
I'll-
3 Billy Goats fluff, right, for share reading?
I thought it was Gruff, the one that's in our,
Oh,
The
is
ones
it?
in our
Oh,
text
I
set.
can't think. Maybe-
I borrowed the
You,
fluff
you
one.
found a graph.
I
earlier
have
just
Gruff,
now,
yeah. That one's the one that comes with our kit. Let me just make sure, before I tell you.
But this
Yeah,
is a live
Three
VR
Billy
spot,
Goats
the
Gruff.
fluff.
Is Fluff in our kit?
No, but if you
Oh.
click on it, it's the My VR,
Okay.
so
The
it's
fluff
already
one?
there.
Or the
Is
gruff?
that hard to do with share reading,
I think so,
to do the video?
to do a video.
Mhm.
But we have it in our text set, so we could switch it from that
I'm gonna put
to-
it, we
the-
do have Fluff.
No, we have the
Oh,
Three Billy Goats
yeah.
Gruff, which
I
is,
think Fluff would be fun to show, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
put
that'd be
Gruff in
fun.
for regular.
Just for them to see, like maybe a fun.
and then we'll come up with some questions that we can ask that go with these. So using our cue chart, and I need to make sure that we're writing these down so that we have the strategies that we're using so we can refer to them moving forward. Does that make sense?
I like the beyond the text questions for the Billy Goats Gruff. Do you think the goats had a plan for the troll before they crossed the bridge?
Ooh, that's a great
How do
one.
you think the first 2 goats felt crossing the bridge?
So so do you think,
All those questions are really good.
let's add them then.
Okay. Do you want me to type it or do you want
I've got one of them going.
goats had a plan before they crossed the bridge?
And then the other one,
How do you think the goats felt, the first 2 goats felt crossing the bridge? And then what lesson do you think the author wants you to learn? Oh, it's about time to go get 'em,
yes,
guys.
wants you to learn. Okay, thank you so much. I think we've got some good questions. We'll keep those strategies going, and I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.